Okay, so I understand where a lot of this comparison and these arguments come from, but I mean that being said, they're not universal ones, and they really just don't apply to anybody and everybody. And even where they do apply, the logic I think is still reasonably flawed. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about people saying like, oh, like well, like on either side of the argument, really. How can you give Floyd Mayweather credit as TBE for beating Juan Manuel Marquez, and you're not going to give Vasyl Lomachenko credit for beating Guillermo Rigondeaux? They both made their opponents come up 2 weight classes. They both. Well, I mean, technically, first of all, they didn't make their opponents do anything. Marquez called out Floyd Mayweather. Rigondeaux was calling out Lomachenko. And I guess, Lomachenko was kind of calling. Well, I mean, there was a little bit more duality there. But Marquez called out Mayweather. Yeah, Marquez straight up said after the Juan Diaz fight, after his fight of the year Juan Diaz fight, he said, hey, Pacquiao's ducking me, so I want to fight Mayweather. And Floyd Mayweather obliged. Floyd Mayweather was also coming off a 2-year layoff. Last I checked, Lomachenko had fought 3 times this year, including, when you include that Rigondeaux fight. So he wasn't exactly coming off of a layoff. And really, most importantly of all, the main difference between Marquez as it relates to Mayweather and Rigondeaux as it relates to Lomachenko is Marquez had repeatedly proven himself and would go on to further prove himself to be an elite, world-class, pound-for-pound fighter. Like he was an elite featherweight, he was an elite super featherweight, he was an elite lightweight. For if he had stayed at 140, he would have been elite light welterweight, and he proved himself to be an elite welterweight as well. I mean, he's the only one to knock out Pacquiao recently, anyway. I mean, ever since Pacquiao's flyweight days when he was fucking starving himself to make weight as a malnutrition freaking like I don't even want to say like prepubescent, but like pre-adolescent. Like he was like stunning. He was literally stunning his growth. He actually got taller. When he was in his like late teens, early 20s, which you don't typically see. As compared to Guillermo Rigondeaux, who, frankly, aside from Nonito Donaire, has no real accomplishments, and I mean really outside of the accomplishments that he does have at super bantamweight, has no accomplishments above that weight. I mean he doesn't have any moving up, nor unlike with Marquez versus Mayweather, nor does he have a Pacquiao to be saying like, well, hey, like this guy won't fight me. Like last I checked, Rigondeaux didn't have this great fight of the year candidate with Orlando Salido, where Rigondeaux arguably beat Salido, and then Salido decided to, avoid him for the better part of a decade, or half of a decade, up until that point. And then Salido beat Lomachenko. And then you have a triangle theory there, as there was with Marquez, Pacquiao, and Mayweather, where, Pacquiao and his promotional team and his management team and all them kept Mayweather's name in their mouth and saying that, oh, Floyd doesn't want any parts of me, while steadily, making every excuse under the sun to never fight Marquez for the 3rd time, until it eventually happened. There's a long gap between there, of course. And so Marquez basically, he was fed up, man. He's like, fuck it, like I'll fight Mayweather. I'll prove, I'll do you one better, Manny. I'll fight the guy that you keep saying that you'll fight, but you won't. And I'll beat him. He wound up losing to him, wound up being pretty comprehensively defeated by him. But once again, I mean Marquez. I mean even just if you're looking at a technical skills perspective, Marquez can fight on the inside. He can fight on the outside. Does he have trouble with guys that really kind of stick and move on him? Sure, but outside of Floyd Mayweather, like he's never really been comprehensively defeated in that fashion. I mean, he's been beaten. He's been out kind of slicked or outboxed before. I mean, if you look at the Chris John fight, which itself was arguable, if you want to go all the way back to Freddie Norwood, in his early days, he was having trouble keeping up with the footwork of Norwood. But even then, it's like he at least gave a certain degree of competition against him. It just wasn't the case with Mayweather in comparison. But Rigondeaux, he didn't beat a Salido. He didn't beat he's not a rival of a Burchelt. He's not a rival of a Jezreel Corrales. He's not a rival of a Alberto Machado. He's not even a rival of any other guys at featherweight that were potential rivals for Lomachenko, like whether it's Oscar Valdez or Gary Russell Jr. I mean, I guess you could say like Leo Santa Cruz with all that crazy shit that happened, but I mean, beyond saying like, oh, like these guys ducked me because they didn't want to fight me, he doesn't actually have the ledger, the penmanship on the paper to actually prove it. He doesn't have the record to actually prove it. I mean, Hisashi Yamagasa, you know, a weight-drained featherweight, Jazza Dickens, a total fucking no-hoper, and Adrian Francisco, who was a super flyweight that got wrecked in the first round by one Chris Avalos, is hardly what I would call the level of guys that Marquez was running through leading up to Floyd Mayweather. You know, that's hardly a Rocky Juarez and a Joel Casamayor and a Juan Baby Bull Diaz. That's not even, you can't even compare the two. Or even a Turtzak. Shit, Turtzak Kokijim. You know, he fought between the first two Manny Pacquiao fights. You know, if I'm going back a little bit, of course, but still, Marquez had proven going all the way back, you know, years before he had even fought Pacquiao. I mean, with wins against the likes of Salido and such. That, you know, he was just he was a high level fighter, man. He was a high level fighter, regardless of who he was at, where he was at in his career, who he was facing off against, and you know, he had proved it like above and beyond that point, you know. And of course, you know, Floyd was coming off a 2-year layoff to fight him. What was Marquez's record when Floyd fought him? He was 50 wins, 4 wins, and 50 wins, 4 losses, and 1 draw. That was Marquez's record when Mayweather fought him, you know, as opposed to 17-0, which is what Rigondeaux was. You know, he was basically still fighting in his amateur style against guys that, quite frankly, not only never really achieved anything as an amateur, but never achieved anything as a pro. I mean, even the vaunted Roberto Marroquin, who a lot of people are like, oh my God, he rocked Rigondeaux. He's going to be something special after Rigondeaux fought him. Like, nope. Nope, still hasn't happened. So, you know, this is just kind of an aside, you know. And if you're wondering kind of what sparked this up, I just happened to be on Twitter and I saw Raging Babe retweet somebody else's picture saying like, oh, you're going to give Floyd credit for beating Marquez, but you're not going to give Lomachenko credit for beating Rigondeaux because, oh, he was so much bigger than him and blah, blah, blah. I mean, for me, it's not about the size so much as it's about the skills. You know, Rigondeaux really still had yet to prove his true worth, his true worthiness as an elite fighter still. You know, not to say that he was never an elite fighter. I'm saying that he had yet to prove that he was still an elite fighter at this point in time, at his age and such, even at his own weight class, at super bantamweight. Whereas Marquez had been kind of proven up until that point that he was the baddest motherfucker at lightweight. I mean, he went in there, and even, you know, he took out Juan Diaz. I mean, sure, it was after Nate Campbell did it, but he knocked him out, you know, which Campbell failed to do. And then he took out the lineal champ, which was Joel Casamayor, you know, who showed that he still had some stuff left when Casamayor knocked out Michael Katsidis. But you know, that just goes to the overall point, man. You know, Floyd Mayweather gets more credit, yes, and he deserves more credit, yes, he does. That's it. You know, you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you, man. You know, Lomachenko has plenty of other guys to fight. You know, and if he fights them and beats them, he'll get credit for them. But no, Rigondeaux is not Marquez. He's not. All right? And so Lomachenko, no, he's not Floyd Mayweather. All right? There you go. That's it. All right. Bye.